All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to construct your own gelatin hydrofrack experiment. So here are the needed supplies. Of course, there's many ways to do this, but these are the materials that I used. The first step, as shown, is going to be cut about a 2 to 3 centimeter square from the nitrile glove. These are placed around the end of a drinking straw to help keep the gelatin from entering it. Use 2 layers of tape to make it as watertight as possible. And do this to both ends of the straw. Using these 20-ounce plastic cups with lids is very useful, but the lid has these 4 tabs which just don't allow the straw to be suspended vertically into the cup. So push those tabs back so the straw can fit into that hole without touching those tabs. You're going to suspend the straw into the cup from the lid with tape. And the idea is to have the end of the straw about 3 centimeters or an inch or 2 from the bottom of the cup. Now I'm using a safety pin to construct basically like an auger that you're going to drill through the gelatin that's in this straw. And you're going to use the flat end of the wooden skewer to attach the pin. Ideally, if you use a sewing needle, you won't have to clip off the end of the safety pin or the end of a sewing pin and get it attached flush to the flat end of the wooden skewer. And this is just to check that the skewer with pin will move through the straw easily. I use the hottest tap water possible. You can see it's about 50 degrees C or 150 degrees Fahrenheit. The particular gelatin I use calls for 2 cups of warm water with 1 tablespoon of gelatin. And then you mix that for a few minutes until most of the gelatin granules are dissolved. Then place the lid with the straw back on the cup and make sure that the straw is straight and in the middle of the cup. Then refrigerate the gelatin cup overnight. At some point, you will also mix up food coloring with water, preferably using a dark color, and certainly mix a lot of food coloring to make sure that your water is very dark. The next day, once the gelatin cup has warmed back up to room temperature, first step is to cut off the top of the straw. And then I put the skewer in, and you can see that maybe about the bottom third of the straw is filled with gelatin despite the nitrile glove coverings. And so I'm just going to stick it in there and spin it, which will basically act like an auger and break up all that gelatin. And I do that until I reach the bottom nitrile glove, and I poke through just 1 hole. More work too, but a single hole has worked fine, and you can see that the skewer is covered with gelatin. And then I'm going to fill the syringe with the food coloring and water. Here I fill it to about 15 to 20 milliliters, and when you see the experiment, I probably used more water than is ideal. If possible, try to get some water into the straw and most of the air out. Otherwise, you'll get a lot of air bubbles when you do the injection of the fluid. So it's very important to have a good seal between the straw and the tip of the syringe. And it's going to require two hands to do that. As you can see here, water is escaping. You won't get a good injection of water that way. So I have to use one thumb and forefinger to basically pinch the top of the straw, and then I give it a good firm injection. Here, probably 10 to 15 milliliters, probably something like 5 to 10 would be better. Because of the amount of water that was used, the frac becomes so large that the water escapes to the surface, which is fine. Each experiment is different, and I encourage you to experiment with changing the variables. Totally.